Let's shift gears for a second. Let's go out to Washington, D.C., because right now there is a press conference happening live. Here's a live look. So this is a press conference held by a variety of lawmakers and immigration experts, DACA recipients, to mark the 13th anniversary of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA. That program, amidst threats of mass deportation. You see this press conference live. I'm sure you're familiar with the ICE protests on the West Coast in Los Angeles that are happening. But again, this press conference is happening as we mark the 13th anniversary of the DACA program. So let's take a listen in to what's being said right now.
Over 7 Americans support citizenship for people like me. They want us to stay. They see us as part of this country because that's what we are. It's Congress. In many ways, I really got lucky. I came to the U.S. at the right time, at the right age, and at the right year. But many others didn't. Some never qualified for DACA because they were too young when Trump froze the applications in 2017. They were ready to apply. They were eager to apply just like I was when I was young, and I wanted to just be normal. And they're still waiting, because that door got slammed and hasn't reopened since. That was not only cruel, it was reckless. We are running on borrowed time. I am more scared today at the age of 31 with a degree in biology from the University of Florida, speaking 3 languages, than when I first came to the country and barely spoke English. The courts can't decide our futures forever. Congress must deliver what we've been promised for years. A pathway to citizenship, stability, and dignity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. Up next we have Todd Schultz, President of Forward.us.
So I'm going to be brief. It's an honor to be here. And I think we stand here today, and it's absolutely critical that anybody listening understand the thing that you can do is make clear, not just has worked and been incredible success, but that DACA shows why giving people that certainty, that legal status, that ability to work and live your life with just a little bit more certainty every day, single day, is absolutely critical for them, and it's critical for our entire country. And if you look at what's happening in Los Angeles, that is made clear at its core. There is no world that has more out of the ability to status. Have lived in this country for decades. Congresswoman said the average DACA recipient came to this country at the age of 6 and is a quarter century. For a second, people who came here on average at the age of 6, who have lived here for no that has more out of the ability to status. Have lived in this country for decades. Congresswoman said the average DACA recipient came to this country at the age of 6 and is a quarter century. For a second, people who came here on average at the age of 6, who have lived here for a quarter century. And DACA has, over the last 13 years, helped over 1 million people do extraordinary things. Get a degree in biology and also do very normal, boring things that many of us take for granted. What does it look like to wake up and not have to worry about, is it worth risking driving my kid to school? And when we look to Los Angeles and we see these efforts, let's be clear what they are. They are efforts to take a failed immigration system and weaponize it to sow fear and chaos and to provoke. And there is no good system when there are people who have for decades been locked out of the ability to earn status. At its core, the thing that DACA has shown all of us is that giving people the ability to work and live legally is the right step. It is the step in the right direction. Not just for DACA recipients and not just for dreamers, but for everyone here. And that's not going to happen today. We should be clear about that. But we have to do what we can to make that tomorrow. Were DACA to go away, the economic consequences would be devastating. But in the absence of that sort of status, it gives this president the ability to say, I am going to go into courthouses for people who are trying to follow the law. I'm going to go to a Home Depot. I'm going to go and try to stoke as much fear and division as possible. And we should push back against that. There is no excuse for weaponizing a failed immigration system. But DACA shows, the unbelievable, tremendous success of DACA shows that taking people out of that, giving people permanent status, which DACA is not, but it's a step in that direction. Giving people that permanent status is not just good for them, but it reduces the ability to demagogue. It creates economic opportunity for everyone. And so as we sit here today and we see so much of what's going on, these efforts to stoke division and fear, yes, it's been an unbelievable success for DACA. And yes, we need a dream out. But this is also the thing, the path forward needs to be not just a question of what we're seeing in Los Angeles and not just a question of fear and division, but why a pathway to citizenship and permanent legal status. All immigrants who are building their lives here is the right way to go. So it's an honor to work alongside DACA recipients. I will not be able to look. And I just want to say, I hope we can look at a moment of pain and darkness that we should aspire to. So it's awesome to be here today. I hope we can hold on to this and hold this here. So thank you.
Bravo!
Thank you so much, Todd. Up next, we have Homies Here partner, the National Immigration Law Center. Woo!
Hi everyone. I am really grateful to be here with you all to celebrate DACA's 13th anniversary. DACA is a teenager. Woo! My name is Dinah Pliego and I am a senior campaign strategist at the National Immigration Law Center, but I'm also a former DACA recipient. I had DACA almost my whole adult life, and I feel so incredibly privileged to have been a recipient of the many life-changing things that I could have only obtained because of DACA. Because of DACA, I was able to go to college and complete my education. DACA brought me and my entire family of 6 out of poverty. It allowed me to work in jobs that aligned with my goals and ambitions. It allowed me to obtain my driver's license and drive to work without fear of a traffic stop going wrong and sending me to a country that I don't know. It allowed me to ultimately be where I am today. But I also want to share today a little bit about Daniel, a DACA recipient that I recently met, who is also grateful to DACA and is a shining example of what DACA can open doors to. Because of DACA, Daniel was able to go to college. He became an Archer Fellow in Washington, D.C. and interned at the Embassy of Mexico in a law firm, where he helped children apply for asylum. He worked on criminal justice reform, interpreted for victims of trauma, and taught ESL to custodians on his campus. Every single step of the way, Daniel has tried to give back more than he was given. And he is still trying to give back to his community. And all that he has accomplished and will accomplish would not have been possible without DACA. What breaks my heart is that Daniel lives in Texas, where soon he may not be able to get a work permit with his DACA thanks to a politically motivated lawsuit attacking the program. And I can relate to this uncertainty this leaves him with, because I too felt for many years the possibility of DACA going away. It was a constant horror on the horizon. We've been fighting to keep DACA and for a permanent solution for years, and still the only certainty that tens of thousands of Texans like Daniel face is that now they are likely to lose what has allowed them to make great strides and contribute to the communities where they live. This is unacceptable. So on today, on Sunday, on DACA's 13th anniversary, I want us to celebrate all the wonderful things that DACA has done for our communities. But I also want us to remember one very important thing. DACA is not enough. It never has been and it never will be. We need legislation. We need the Dream and Promise Act. And I cannot think of a more urgent time than right now. Over the past several weeks, we have seen our communities under attack in unprecedented ways. We are witnessing violent abuses of power in Los Angeles, California, and communities around the country. The images from this weekend and the past few weeks are in replay in my head. As I have tried to lay down to sleep this week, I have not.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNT Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. Right there, you're watching a press conference that's happening in Washington, D.C., right outside of the Capitol. They are talking about, or marking rather, the 13th anniversary of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as the DACA program. And this comes amidst threats of mass deportation. And those concerns, again, that press conference is happening live with lawmakers from Washington, D.C., also immigration experts and DACA recipients. So that's happening there.